Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. This channel, Everyday Science, is all about trying to learn various concepts of data science by practicing a lot of questions. This video is in continuation of the series where we're trying to learn Python by solving interview questions from top tech companies like Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google. If you're preparing for any of this role, this is a great series to follow and build your concepts. So yeah, let's jump right in. In this video, we are going to solve this question and start a scratch regarding users exclusive per client. This question has been asked in Microsoft, Apple, and Dell interviews, and it's a great question if you're preparing for data engineer, data scientist, data analyst, or ML engineer roles. Okay, so the question reads: write a query that returns a number of users who are exclusive to only one client. Output the client ID and the number of exclusive users. Okay, so we are given a data frame called fact events, and an expected output is a pandas data frame with two different columns: the client ID and the number of exclusive users. And the name of the column is user ID. Okay, let's inquire about this data frame called fact events. So it has a number of columns, I think 7. And here you have ID, time ID, user ID, customer ID, client ID, event type, and event ID. Okay, so from this, what we need is who all are the users who are exclusive to only one particular client. So how can we do that? So the first step should be, let's for every user ID try to find out how many clients they are actually using. So what we can do is we can write, let's make a column called number of clients, right? So in this particular data frame, we can make a column called number of clients, and then what we can do is fact events data frame, and then let's group by. So let's group by the user ID, because what we want for every user how many various clients they are using, and then we can use the client ID to perform a unique count. However, think about it, and we learned about this in previous videos as well. If I want to create a column, right? So here, let's say I am creating a column called number of clients for every user ID, how many different clients I have. So it would be actually two-step process. Firstly, I group by the user ID and then take the client ID and perform a unique count, because I want how many different clients a particular user is using. So I will do that. Once I have that for every user ID, how many various different clients the person is using, then I will merge it back on this data frame called fact events on the user ID and will get that. However, we have learned about something called group by transform, where both these steps can be done with just single line of code. Here, what we basically do is we group by the user ID. What do we count the unique part? The client ID. So we write the column that we want to count unique. So client ID transform, and then what we are basically doing, we are counting these things uniquely. So n unique. Now what does transform does? It will return you a data frame with exactly the same size as you have the original data frame. So if the original data frame is fact events, it would have certain number of rows. So that many number of rows this transform will return. Let me go ahead and run this, right? So here you have, so this will be index 0, index 1, 2, so on, right? So if I go ahead and run this, here you can see index 0 number of client ID is equal to 2, index 1, 2, right? So basically this is 0, 1, 2, and so on. And obviously what is being done is this is adding it back to the fact events data frame. So this transform is doing that. So if I now go ahead and inquire about this data frame called fact events, this is particular just the column that we saw, a number of clients. Now if we look at it, we are having the number of clients added back, right? So you do not have to do the same thing in two steps. You can just do it in one single line. If you want to learn more about this group by transform, where I actually show you step by step, I have the video linked in the description. You might want to check that out. Okay, once we have this, then what do we want? We want users that are exclusive to a client. That means the number of clients should be equal to 1. So let's filter. Let's use the dot query method and say that number of clients should be equal to 1. Let me go ahead and run this now. So now you have all the users who are exclusively using only one thing. So if I look at 4183MYFRB, this person is only using desktop, and desktop, again desktop. So yes, you have various events at different time frames, but the person is only using one client, that is desktop. Similarly for this person as well, you now are left with only those users who have only one exclusive client, that is desktop. So what we can do is, we need in our output the client ID and the number of unique users, right? The question says the number of exclusive users that are using it. So again, you can go ahead and group by the client ID. So if I go ahead and do dot group by the client ID, then let's use the user ID column to perform a unique count. So n unique, and since we grouped by the client ID, but we want that as a column, we need to reset index. So if I go ahead and run this now, let's see what do we get in our output. So you have the client ID and the user ID column, which contains the number of exclusive users. I think this looks good. Our output looks exactly like the expected output. Let me go ahead and submit to sit past all the test cases. So everything is green, and this is how we do it. So not a difficult question. However, we just applied the learnings from our previous videos, where what we basically did was, we have this data frame where we created a new column called number of clients. So we basically did for every user ID, how many different or distinct client IDs the person is using. And then once we had that, we kept only those rows where the number of clients is equal to 1, because that is what is being asked in this question. Then we grouped by the client ID and counted the number of exclusive or unique users per client, and reset the index so that we can see the client ID as a column as required by our output. So yeah, this is how we do it. Let me know if there's a better way or more efficient way to solve this question. Let the solution be in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.